Determining necessary maintenance tasks and appropriate maintenance intervals is the core of any electrical maintenance program, but it's not simple. Brian's going to tell us more about how to do it and what some of the challenges are.
In terms of determining the maintenance of tasks and intervals, we need to review that manufacturer documentation. It really is 100% critical to the process. We need to incorporate the results of the equipment survey and analysis, and then we need to refer to NFPA 70B and other industry standards when manufacturer guidance is lacking or unavailable. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is just because a manufacturer's manual doesn't tell you to do something doesn't mean you don't have to do it when it's called out in NFPA 70B or another standard. In that case, the standard is providing the guidance and context the manufacturer has not. We'll defer to the requirements from the manufacturer in general, but if it's not in there, we know we want to do this maintenance. It's called out in the standard, so we'll follow it when it's lacking from the manufacturer's perspective. And that's really going to be one of the biggest challenges to determining maintenance tasks and intervals. The manufacturer guidance is unavailable. It's just not out there. That's probably not super likely unless you have a manufacturer that's out of business and you can't track down anything on the internet. But a lot of times what's more likely is that the guidance is unclear or is lacking. Right? It may be hard to interpret. It may not really be that deep. It may make some assumptions about things that they expect you to do that you probably don't want to, and then ignore other things. Right? One that comes to mind is cleaning modules, often called out in module manufacturers' instructions. Thermal imaging the plug connectors, probably not as much. Right? Which of those do you want to perform as part of your program? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's one or the other. Those are decisions you're going to have to make, and sometimes the manufacturer guidance does not really help with that. Another challenge is that the intervals that manufacturers state often don't align with other pieces of equipment on site. We have pretty wide windows for equipment that's in a good condition based on the requirements of 70B. A lot of times manufacturers are going to have more narrow windows, and I've talked about how maybe that's a good idea, especially on newer systems that are only in the ground for a year or two, so we can catch any of those early failures on that bathtub curve. But you're going to run into some conflict there in terms of all these other activities that are on much wider intervals compared to things that are called out by the manufacturer more frequently.
Click subscribe to stay up to date on codes, standards, and electrotech.